Hey, what's going on, guys? I wanted to really quickly kind of go over some advice I have for constructing a pipeline within high level. I have just seen a lot of people kind of do it in a way that I think may result in confusing your client or even your team. So I wanted to kind of lay out the principles that I always kind of use and the steps that I use to create intuitive pipelines. And I think this is going to help out a lot of people. So, the first thing I want to start off with is like a principle that I follow literally at all times in regards to all things. And that principle is if I can simplify it, I will simplify it because simplicity is beautiful. People tend to make things too complex. They either don't know how to really structure it all, so it's kind of a mess, or it's too so complex that either their clients or their teams aren't even really using all of the functionality, not only of their pipeline, but also just high level in general. So this is just a general principle, but it does apply to my process here. So the next thing I do is I just ask myself one question, right? What products and or services is the client offering, right? Now, if I'm doing this for somebody else, it's my client. If I'm doing it for myself, I'm my own client, right? So what am I offering if I'm doing it for myself? My next question is, what is the sales process / customer journey for each one of these products or services? Okay. So at that point, I'd go ahead and write a detailed step-by-step, like everything from the customer sees my ad to fills my lead form, goes to my funnel, books an appointment, shows to the appointment, and all these like steps that the customer is taking in the sales process / customer journey. Okay. And so the next question is, what parts of the sales process or customer journey are not only trackable, but can be used to trigger something within a workflow? I prefer to keep things largely automated when it comes to moving things back and forth in the pipeline. And I'd like for each of the lead stages that I end up adding at the end to be things that can be automated, right? And so that there is no need for a manual drag and drop. All right. The next question is, what trackable stages of the customer journey are significant? And this is kind of a really subjective thing, and I've had trouble trying to even describe what I mean by significant. But I think if I give you a few examples, you may understand what non-significance is, and then you can kind of understand what I'm getting at, if that makes any sense. So let's say that this is not even this. Let's say I have a pipeline, right? But this is actually for account setup, let's say, okay? Let's say that there's one lead stage. The first lead stage is quality assurance needed. The next one is quality assurance approved. The next one is client approval needed. Let's say I need to go through both my quality assurance and my client approval process before something goes live. Okay. Now, really, if a lead ever gets put into the quality assurance approved lead stage, it's very transitory, right? Because as soon as the quality assurance or as soon as the quality assurance guy ends up, checking off and saying that something was done correctly, it should start, the client approval process. So it would only be there for a few minutes before it's assigned to the, client success manager and they begin that process. So because it would only be there for a few minutes, I think it's non-significant for that lead stage to be there. So I would just eliminate the quality assurance approved lead stage. And then as soon as the quality assurance is completed, I just would put it into the client approval needed lead stage, if that makes sense. The next example would be for a sales pipeline. So maybe you'll be able to understand this one a little bit better. But let's say that I once again have these 3 lead stages that are taken out of my pipeline. It goes from appointment booked to appointment showed to follow up, and then after that it's proposal. Okay, so I actually never have an appointment showed lead stage in any pipeline that I design, unless there's something specific happening in that lead stage. Because most of the time, people aren't actually, there's no automation that's going out after they've showed. Unless it's something like a gym or something, maybe an hour after the they show up for their CrossFit class or whatever. Maybe we want to send them a text and ask them, what their experience was, right? And so maybe in that case, it's significant. But if this is, let's say I'm an agency and I'm offering a service, pretty much as soon as the appointment is completed, it will either be put into the follow-up lead stage or the proposal sent lead stage, or it's put to lost, right? So, once again, appointment showed is a very transitory lead stage. Things are only going to be in there for the duration of the appointment before it's immediately being assigned to a lead stage that corresponds to the outcome of that appointment. So in this particular instance, I would remove appointment showed. All right. And so with that being said, the next thing that I look at is I look to see if the sales process for the multitude of products or services are structured in the same way. If so, I want to consolidate the pipelines. I want to use tags to differentiate the two different types of leads, and then use conditions in the workflows where relevant to send messaging particular to that type of lead. Okay. However, if the sales processes are not structured in the same way, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to create a different pipeline and separate workflows for that pipeline. All right. So the reason why I consolidate things is because I just find that people will use things more if the less clicks they have to, the less effort they have to put into something, if that makes sense. Like if they're having to click between multiple workflows, it just increases the chance of things falling, between the cracks and, deals getting lost. So I prefer to keep it all in one pipeline and then just differentiate the leads with tags, which, by the way, if you didn't know, you can set it up so that, or you don't even have to set it up. If the opportunities have tags, or if the contacts have tags that are related to the opportunities, you can just go to the search bar in the pipeline and you can type in the name of that tag and it will only show those. So, that's pretty much what I'll use to be able to differentiate between two different products or services that I'm offering that are hosted within the same pipeline. Okay. So, those are kind of my thoughts. I really hope that was helpful. That's how I go about it. If you have any questions, please feel free to drop them underneath the video.